Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 155 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, April the 1st, 2023, and no April Fool's jokes today. Hubby and I aren't into those, or I'm not, so, and there are orders that no jokes will be played on me during the day either, so I'm kind of cranky that way. Anywho, so gorgeous day out today. It's in the low 60s Fahrenheit. It's bright and sunny, light breeze. They were threatening high winds. That might not be till later today though. We had some rain yesterday, and apparently it poured overnight, but I slept through it, and hubby said he heard it. I snored through it. I missed it altogether. There's quite a few puddles out this morning when I got up, but by about lunchtime it had cleared up, and it's gorgeous out now. Absolutely gorgeous out. So this week I have two finished objects to show you. No April Fool's joke. Two finished objects. First one are my Celtic Rain socks. So this is a pattern by Cynthia Huetner. I think I'm pronouncing that hopefully correctly. These are the Sock Madness 17 round 2 socks. I used yarn I dyed myself, and you can clearly see that the dye is not consistent across the entire skein of yarn. One skein of yarn, or one end of the yarn, got a lot more dye than the other end of the yarn did. The middle portion of this skein of yarn is probably going to be more consistent. It'll be more like what's at the top of both of them, because these were toe up. So let's take a look at them. They're so pretty. Twisted stitches, little cables. Such a pretty design. They have a few beads on them. You can see a couple little beads. I think there's only about 10 beads on each sock. So, not a lot. Hoping this is focusing nicely for you. It was a really pretty design. It had a little broken rib, twisted knit stitches and broken rib down part of it. So it started with a Turkish cast on. I think it was a Turkish cast on. At the toe, it had a long gusset increase. It was only, I think, every third round that you increased going through the gusset. Heel turn, slip stitch, heel, and then continued on with the cabling and twisted stitches the rest of the way up the leg. I have a hair on my lip. I think it's gone. And then it used a what was it called? It used a crochet hook. Was it a double chain crochet bind off? It was a little bit, I found, what's the word I'm looking for? It was a little bit awkward for me to do because the yarn was coming around the opposite direction that I would normally grab the yarn for crocheting. I'm very comfortable with crochet, but what I found with doing that bind off was that the yarn came around, the yarn did not come around the hook the way I would do yarn over to pull through when I'm crocheting, if that makes any sense to you. But it's a nice stretchy cast off, and it holds its shape nicely as well. So here's the other sock, the lighter one. And this did have a right and a left sock. So it's mirrored so you can see when you're looking at them. The beads are down the one side and the plain down the other side. So they are mirrored. There is a distinct right and a left sock. So I love them. They're really pretty. They were a lot of fun to knit. I really did enjoy knitting them, but I found it slow to do because you have to pay attention, or at least I had to pay attention to the chart row by row by every single row. I had to pay attention to the chart. And especially where there was a distinction between a right and a left side. So I found it was slower. I don't mind. I know a lot of people are not crazy about doing twisted stitches. I don't mind them at all. They don't bother my hands or my wrists. I don't have any issue with doing twisted stitches. I just found that following the pattern, I found that it was a very slow knit for me. Enjoyable, but slow. So we're now waiting for round 3 to begin. So I submitted my socks, I think last Tuesday or Wednesday this past week. Tuesday or Wednesday. I think I found the hair. I forget which day it was. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday this past week that I submitted my socks and they were approved. So I was really happy with getting them done, getting them approved, and moving on to the next round. This current round will end in the next couple hours. It's, as I'm talking to you right now, it's going on close to 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon, and this round will officially end at, I think, about 5 after 4 in the afternoon in my time zone. So 2 hours, 10-15 minutes from now that I'm talking, this round will be finished. So last I checked, there were still 11 spots open across all the teams. So we shall see if all of the spots fill up and are good to go for the next round, and we'll see how long we have to wait for the next round to start. I'm kind of hoping, maybe I'll do this each round, I'll kind of hope for when the pattern will come out so that it's optimal for me. Not that I'm selfish at all. Sundays are usually a pretty busy day for us, so I don't typically get a lot of complicated knitting done on a Sunday. We have church in the morning, then we typically go out for lunch or some kind of lunch plans on Sunday. Then we get home. Usually by then both the hubby and I are wiped and we each have a nap. Then he goes off to teach his Sundays, or not Sunday school, he goes off to teach his youth group kids in the evening. I spend a good part of the earlier part of the evening making sure everything for my courses is all ready for Monday morning start. That's not a guarantee that I'm gonna have it all figured out. I made an oops last week, my bad. But Sundays are quite busy, so I'm kind of hoping that the specs come out late Sunday, maybe Sunday early evening, so I can mull over yarn choices and then the pattern can come out Monday morning. I don't know if that's how it'll work, but I will have some time this week coming up to get some knitting done in between work things. So don't think I have any meetings that I have to go to campus for this week, so it'll just be getting my grading done, working on some papers, just my regular work things, which allow me to have knitting breaks during the day. So that's what I'm hoping for, but we shall see. Either which way, round 3 will be coming along fairly soon. So I'm excited to see what on earth kind of pattern we get next. So my second finished object are my March sorta shorty toe up socks. So I've been working on these off and on for the past month. The yarn is from an advent kit that I bought from Orlando Fiber Arts. This one. It is a 12-day of yarn advent calendar, and what I opted to do with that was each of the 12 days would be 1 month throughout the year of 2023. So this was the yarn that came in day number 3 for March. I don't have a specific pattern that I'm using for this. It's just a standard vanilla toe-up sock. I do a basic wedge rounded kind of toe. Takes me 20 rounds. Then I work my way up the foot for 55 rounds for just the right size for me. Then 20 rounds of gusset increasing. Then I do, in the alternate color, I do the heel turn, a slip stitch heel flap where you reincorporate the stitches along the side here on the gusset, and then I go back to doing the main color, and usually about 20-25 rows up the leg, then a 2x2 ribbing, and I'll do that until I completely run out of yarn. Then I add in the white yarn or the bare yarn for a couple rounds at the top just to finish it off. So then I have the contrasting toes, heels, and just a tiny, what is it, Kay Litton from the Crazy Sock Lady calls it, just a pop of color at the top. And I love this. I love these socks. So the contrast isn't as high on these socks as it has been on January and February, which I have. Whoops, I just bonked the tripod. Got the January socks here, February socks here. March are going to get put on top of that pile, and I'll keep building that collection. I probably won't start wearing them until next year, but we shall see. So since today is April 1st, I have a new cast on. Well, I actually cast on a couple days ago, I think on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. I opened up, or this, let me backtrack this and say this in a little bit more clearer form. My mouth is going faster than my brain is trying to get the words out, so it's not working. I'm starting my April sort of shorty toe-up socks. I started the toes in bare yarn a couple days ago, finished the toes so that when April 1st rolled around, as in this morning, one of the first things I did was pulled out this box, pulled out number 4, and opened up the April yarn. Look at that. Oh, it is so, so pretty. It's a gorgeous pink, purpley, variegated, tonal variegated type yarn. It's got little darker blue speckles and blurps and some teal speckles and little bits. And it is so pretty. So I've started knitting it up, as I said. I cast on the toes a couple days ago. Oops. I don't want the ball of yarn to go rolling across my dusty floor. So, and here's where I am now. So I did the toes a couple days ago, Thursday I think it was. So I'd be all ready to cast on. And I've done this first, I think 8 or 10 rounds in the purple since I got up this morning. So I just wanted to get some done so I could show you just the beginning of it. And I'll be working on these off and on throughout the month. And I'll have my 4th sort of shorty pair of socks coming up this month. So that's my new work in progress. So brand new project, and it'll probably, you'll get to see it off and on probably every weekend this month when I film, because I'll plan on getting a little bit done on it. I'm hoping almost every week, although depending on how fast round 3 comes out and how much time I have to spend knitting on round 3, everything else will go to the wayside once I start working on my Sock Madness socks, as you're well aware of. So I'm excited to keep working on those and excited for the round 3 socks to come out. I have also been working on my Rachel top, and since let's get all untangled without pulling needles out. Good grief. You'd think just laying down a project you wouldn't end up with a yarn octopus, but I can do it. I can get a yarn octopus just laying down a pile of fabric. So anyway, so since I finished up both the round 2 socks and my March socks this past week, I've picked up my Rachel top and have continued working on that. So since I saw you or showed you this last, which was probably a couple weeks ago, I have gone from the marker upwards. And you might notice I have finally got to the point where I've separated for the front and back. So I have the back half of the stitches are on a spare set of needles and my fancy needle protector, stopper, whatever you want to call it. Just a hair elastic. I just wrap it around and around and around and around, and they're not going anywhere. So I have the back on a spare set of needles, and I am currently working on the front portion now. So it's coming along. I am liking it. It's a little bit different working on it now because now I'm going back and forth. So every second row is, I have to purl all the way back. I'm okay with that. I don't mind purling, but it's a little bit slower than the knitting. But I have to do 10 repeats. So you can see from this part with the little eyelet kind of things here up. So this little inch or so of fabric, I have to do that repeat 10 times. So from where the eyelet is to the top is 1 repeat, and there's a total of 10 before you start doing some decreasing and shaping on the shoulder and the neckline. And it's the same on, I think it's the same on the back. So it's kind of like a boat neckline, sort of. So I'm hoping to get a bunch more done on that. I'm excited that I'm finally getting towards the end where it's almost done. Or at least I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Then once the front and back are done, then it just has the sleeves to do, which it's got a bit of a drop sleeve, or drop shoulder, and short sleeves. So the sleeves that I think you only have to do, that's just done in plain stockinette in the round. So that's only, I think, 7 inches or so. I'll play it by ear and see where the shoulder seam actually hits and see how long I want to make the sleeve. I don't want it too short. I want it so that it comes to just above my elbow. So that's the plan. So that's my knitting for this week. 2 finished objects, progress on 1 project, and a new one. So it's been a good week. It's been a good week with a goodly amount of knitting time done. And what else? I have some stash that I got yesterday, and I'm hoping to get a little bit more maybe on Wednesday, and a place to yarn order today. So the hubby and I went out to do some exploring yesterday. I had to go, and first thing I had to do is I had to go to the jeweler's and get my anniversary ring checked. I have to go every 6 months for them to double check, make sure all the stones are solid and in there, not loose. Clean it, all that stuff. So every 6 months I have to go in and get that done, and that maintains the warranty or the guarantee on the ring. So if anything ever happens to it, if I've been coming in every 6 months for the regular checks, then it's covered. So that had to be done. We have to go in September and March. So our anniversary month in September, and then I have to go during the month of my husband's birthday, which is in March, which was just this past Monday. So I'm easily able to remember his birthday month and September, it has to be checked. So we left it to the last minute. Just got in to get it checked yesterday. So while we were down in that neck of the woods, we went and poked around in a few shops. So I went to, there's a Tuesday morning, it's about a 20-minute, half-hour drive from where we are. Very close to where I get my rings checked. So we went, there's a Tuesday morning there, but it's one of the locations that's closing. And typically they have a lot of crafting supplies there, card making, paper crafting, journal stuff. They sometimes have yarn, they sometimes have fabric, and they have all kinds of other stuff. So I got a notification, it's been a while back now, that is one of the Tuesday morning locations that will be closing up permanently, which I'm kind of disappointed with, but I'm also okay with, because the things that they had been stocking in the store have changed quite a bit since before and after March of 2020. Before that, there was a lot more yarn, there was a lot more fabric stuff, like quilting stuff, a lot more crafting stuff. Since then, there's been less and less stuff that I'm really interested in there. So I thought, well, now that things are they're on sale, they're clearing it out. I got an email notification that everything was 60% off. So we went there, and whenever we go there, my husband doesn't care two hoots about shopping at Tuesday morning. So I drop him off at the Goodwill store, which is just at the other end of the strip mall. So I drop him off there, and then I go down to Tuesday morning, then I come back to Goodwill and pick him up. So I get closer to the Tuesday morning, and I'm thinking, there's like no cars parked out front. This is not a good sign. So I drove past the store. It was completely empty. You looked in the front doors, the lights were on, you looked in the front doors, and you could see straight through to the very back of the store. It was 100% empty. So I don't know when the last day was. I think I only got the email about the 60% off, I think just a week and a half ago, no more than 2 weeks ago. So it closed up and cleared out the last part fast. So I missed it. Whatever might have been there was gone. So I didn't get to do any shopping there, which is good for my pocketbook, but so be it. Then we went putzing around a few other places. And then there was a Hobby Lobby close to where I got my rings checked also. And I've been seeing people post things on different YouTube channels talking about this clearance yarn at Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure I think I might have talked about this a week or two ago on this. And my local one that we go to more often didn't have anything on clearance yet. So I thought, well, I'll go check this other location. So I went there, and very little of their yarn was on. There was a few things on clearance, and I ended up getting 4 skeins of yarn. These guys. So these will turn into 2 pair of socks for the hubby. The first one, they're all Patent Croy or Patent Croy, however you pronounce it. Regular price was $8.99, on sale for $2.24. So this color is Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis. It's a 75-25. I think it's a 75-25. Is that what it says on here? It's a little bit shorter on the yardage. There's only, I think, 166 yards per 50 gram. Yeah, and it's 75 wool, 25 nylon. So this will make one pair of socks for him. And I'm gonna do these toe up. I'm just gonna do it all one. I'm not gonna use contrasting toes and heels. I'm just gonna start at the toes, one skein each, and I'm just gonna keep going till I run out. And he likes his socks a little bit thicker. He wears a lot of his socks just as house, like around the house only, especially in the winter time. And then the second one, again, Patton's Croy. And this colorway is Brownie. And again, the same 166 yards per 50 gram. Regular $8.99, on clearance for $2.24. So, and they didn't have any other colors that they had too. These actually look, this one looks darker, but they'll be fine. They're socks. They will be socks. So that's part of my stash enhancement. On Wednesday, I think we'll be able to head into my regular Hobby Lobby that I go to, and I'll see if they have any yarn on clearance there. If they do, if they have more colors, I might pick up some more. We'll see if it's on clearance, and I'll see what else they might have, if they have anything else on clearance there. I don't need a lot more yarn of any sort, but the hubby always likes if I make him a few pair of socks here and there. So I thought I'll treat him and make him a couple pair of socks. So, and the other yarn I ordered this morning is a pre-order, and this is for Freckled Whimsy has a pre-order on their 2023 self-striping Advent socks, sock yarn. So I missed out on these last year. I'd only first seen them last year, and I thought, oh, I like them. So I signed up for her newsletter, got a notification a couple days ago that they would be having the first pre-order for the self-striping sock Advent yarn, and I got an order in for one skein. I just got the single skein. I'm probably just going to do it with white toes, heels, and just a splash of color at the top, probably. Not 100% sure yet. I might do something with afterthought heel, but those don't fit my feet quite as nicely as the heel flap and gusset and heel flap fit. So I placed that order. Oops, I'm gonna run out of time here. I gotta stop and start again. Alrighty. I talked too long and I'm almost ran out of time. My my camera only goes for 29 minutes. So anyway, I ordered mine so that I got two 50 gram. The dyer does either a full 100 gram skein, or you can get it split into two 50 gram. But I think it's just done two of them just in a hank, all like side by side. Any of the pictures I've seen, it's not two separate hanks of yarn. It's one hank with, I am assuming, two strands coming out. That's my assumption. I will find out much later. The yarn won't be mailed till October, so it's a long wait for that. I'll have long forgotten that I ordered it probably by then. She's doing, so the pre-order is open probably for the entire month of April, although that might be flexible depending on what happens with the number of pre-orders. And there likely will be another pre-order in the summer, I think they said in July, and possibly another order later in the year, depending. So if you have any interest in that, they are up for sale now for pre-order. So I'm excited for that. I will be making a pair of, again, toe-up socks, doing that. I still haven't decided. I might do the toes, start right at the toes and work my way up. Maybe do a white heel. We'll see. We shall see. I don't know. I will decide that once I get to December. So I probably will. I'm possibly going to order a separate advent calendar with the 24 days of 20 gram minis, but I'm not deciding on that till sometime in the summertime, probably. Unless there's something that I really want to get that goes on a pre-sale or a pre-order. But I'll probably leave that until later. And I might try something that are some of the non-mainstream dyers. We'll see. We'll see. Because the one I went with this past Christmas I loved it. I loved the yarn. So we shall see. Maybe someone will do another 12-day 50 gram. I'm kind of hoping that would be cool. Anyone out there doing dyeing, you want to do that? Do a different 12-day 50 gram? Then I can do another year worth of sort of shorties. That'd be nice. Anyway, I'm starting to get a little bit silly now. Anywho, so that's it for now. I'm going to go and do a little bit more on my April socks, and maybe a bit more on my sweater, and wait and see when the next round of Sock Madness starts. So on that note, I shall let you go, and I will see you guys again in a week. Bye everyone.